KHON2, happening now.
Well, we are on what is now day 2 of just some wet and wild weather statewide. Maui taking the brunt of it yesterday. The Big Island seeing extremely heavy rain at this minute. Another wave of very heavy weather striking particularly East Oahu. Justin Cruz here with me. Justin, what are you seeing?
Yeah, you know what? We have a flash flood warning in place. This has already been in place for the last several hours. And what we're seeing right now are very heavy rain cells that are basically clinging onto the Ko'olau Mountains. They're not moving much. Now, the winds are somewhat southerly and southeasterly winds, and you could see an area of very heavy rain that extends pretty much from just north of Kaneohe all the way straight through Kahuku. You do not want to be on Kamehameha Highway right now. Avoid it at all costs, simply because there's already been a few road closures and there's already been issues with flooding along Kamehameha Highway. But as you can see, that heavy rain cell is pretty much stationary. It's along the arc of the Ko'olau Mountains right now, and specifically in an area that extends, I would say, from Waiahole all the way through Kahuku. And this is just not just heavy rain. This is like a torrential downpour. So that's one area that we're looking at right now. We also have a flood advisory for the Big Island. You could see some of the heavier showers moving into that southeast corridor all the way from Na'alehu straight through the Puna district and then up north through Hilo. For the most part, these have been quick passing heavy showers, and those are the two areas that I see right now that could be problematic in the short term. Now, it's also a situation where heavy rains can pop up at any hour over any island, not at the same time, but Mother Nature decides when that happens.
And standing right in the thick of things there in the Kaneohe and Hauula area, we have our Jen Boniza. Jen, tell us what you're seeing. Oh, my.
Well, yeah, some very serious conditions. The road is actually closed out a half a mile that way. There is an officer posted, and I'm hoping I'm not going to get barreled by this truck going by. He sees me and he's sped up. But you know what? We've got flooded waters here. Stream not too far from us. We're at Vailehua Road and Kahikili Highway. Like I said, an officer posted about a half a mile closer to the Kaneohe side, blocking people from going further. We were able to get around it, and the road is just flooded here. You can see from Kahaluu Stream over flooded. We still have traffic able to pass in this area, but a couple of miles down the road, you're going to bump into another roadblock at Waikane. They are not letting anyone pass that area. Police have told us that at least 2 cars are stranded in the middle of the road, about 4 feet of water on the roadway near Waikane Stream. It is overflowed there, and it's absolutely not passable, according to the officer that we saw. And just a few minutes earlier, we had a fire truck pass us here to make some sort of rescue. Of course, all morning we've been hearing on the scanners reports of people needing to be taken out of their homes. I have a few cousins and family that live in Hauula and La'i. Their homes, also a lot of flooding going on. So very serious. You don't need to come out to the windward side. Please stay away. Stay home. It's great weather if you have that luxury to stay off of the road. We're only here because we just want to show you what's going on. You didn't have to be here. I'd be at home as well. All right, folks. So again, stay at home. If you don't have to be out on the roadways on the east side of the island, a lot of flooding along Kamehameha Highway. We will stay here to keep you updated on the latest. Jen Boniza reporting live from Kahaluu for KHON2 News. Back to you in the
All right, thank you very much, Jen. You can see how the road is flooded, and you also saw cars barreling through that flooded road, which is a no-no.
The turn around, don't drown is all we hear is the refrain that the Weather Service tells you. And if those high trucks, you saw how high the water was just on those high trucks, like Jen says, stay out of those areas. Now, in preparation to bring you these updates, we've been in contact with Robert Ballard, and he was telling us right before the show started, something big is happening right over East Oahu.
That's right. He signaled it to us, and we want to go to him right now to get his take on what is happening over the windward sides of Oahu right now. Robert Ballard, thank you for joining us. What do you see developing with this thunderstorm or this heavy rain?
Yeah, it looks like, just as you mentioned earlier, Justin, that these heavy rain and thunderstorms, and this is intense rainfall. We're talking 3 to 5 inches of rain per hour falling just upslope from Hauula and Punalu'u, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So that's a huge concern. Remember, we already had 2 to 3 inches of rain just about over the whole island last night, and so we're already pretty saturated before this started. Now in the last 12 hours, we've gotten about 9 inches of rain. We're coming up on 9 inches of rain on portions of Windward Oahu. So we think that this is really going to lead to some serious flash flooding.
Well, that's for sure. And, you know, when you talk about that rate of rain, if it were to continue for so long, we had the record-breaking rain on Kauai a few years back. We, of course, had the East Oahu rain. Is this heading toward another record, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say whether or not this is going to last that long. We kind of don't think so, but it's really hard to tell. Sometimes when you get into these events, you know, Mother Nature kind of drives the show a little bit and decides where the thunderstorms are going to get anchored. But we're keeping a really close eye on it. We do, of course, have a flash flood warning that's going to be out. I'm sure it'll probably be extended through the afternoon. And this looks like a really serious situation. I know we have flash flood warnings that you hear from time to time, but this one may end up being a really big deal for portions of Windward Oahu, especially if we can't get that heavy rain moving out of that area sometime really soon.
And that's exactly right. When you have a heavy rain cell or a thunderstorm cell and it just stays put, that's when it becomes a danger zone. And that's exactly what happened in Maui yesterday, where some of these heavier showers just kind of clinged to the slopes of Haleakala. And we are seeing a similar situation, especially over the central and northern portions of the Ko'olau Mountains. Robert, I just wanted to ask you about this type of storm system, this upper level low as it's called, and how tricky it is to forecast, because things come and go, things pop up at different areas, different islands at different times, and it makes this weather phenomena a little bit more tricky to forecast, would you say?
Exactly. Upper level lows are really tricky for us. They're very hard to forecast. The computer models don't do a great job with them. They tell you that the situation is really favorable for intense rainfall rates, but they don't always give you a great idea as to what part of the islands or what part of the state could get hit the worst. So we're in this situation where we're kind of really keeping an eye on things. And of course, the rain that we had last night does not help, that we had pretty widespread rainfall. And now we're getting these small but really intense pockets of heavy rainfall today. And we think that that's going to continue over the next couple of days as this upper level low kind of lingers, and then a surface low pressure area starts to take away our trades and develops west of the island. So it's a pretty serious situation. Don't be fooled if the sun comes out for a little while, and all that's going to do is make things more unstable for more development. So just a situation where you really want to stay close to weather information. Not a good time for hiking, not a good time for camping. You just want to be aware of the weather situation and kind of hunker down a little bit.
Boy, you talk about those odd pockets, that's for sure. I live in Kaneohe, and I had never seen so much rain in my life this morning. Waited for a pocket to open to get down here to do this break-in, but boy, and then it fired right back up again. Robert, from a hydrology perspective, how does this amount of rainfall, in terms of the coping mechanisms that, whether it's Mother Nature or our rivers and streams and ditches, can handle, you know, a very moist and moisture-rich side of the island, like Windward, used to heavy rain in general, versus Maui, which has been in a drought, right? So when huge rains come all of a sudden, from a hydrology and runoff perspective, does it make a tougher time for a place like Maui, which had been so dry and in drought? Are the effects on the ground worse in a place that's been dry versus a place like Windward Oahu where it's been wet?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference. So if you're getting, for example, Maui yesterday got upslope from Makawao and Haiku, they got 1.5 to 2 feet of rain yesterday, most of that falling in about 12 hours. So when you have that much rain coming down at that rate, it really doesn't matter if you've been in a drought you're still going to get flash flooding. It's just too much water at one time. What makes it worse, though, is when you have already saturated the ground and then you pile on rainfall rates of 3 to 5 inches an hour, then you've really got a situation where you're in big trouble, and things are not looking good right now for Windward Oahu. Again, we hope that this will settle down, but I keep looking at radar scans and it doesn't look like it's letting up anytime real soon. So we hope folks will take this very seriously. If you're in an area where you've gotten flooding before, you probably need to move and get out of the way, but don't put yourself in more danger by getting in the car and crossing flooded roads. You need to assess your situation carefully.
Yeah, I think at this point, residents of Windward Oahu, first off, hunker down, and if you need to leave for an emergency purposes, absolutely. But the key, I think, is any structure or home or anywhere that is near a river, which will be swollen, or a flood-prone valley. Obviously, Kamehameha Highway already having some issues with flooding right now, and eventually that runoff is going to make it to the ocean. Hard to tell how long this particular heavy rain cell is going to last, but the key takeaway right now is that we're in a dangerous situation simply because even though the winds are moving or kind of southerly right now and southeasterly, the arc of the Ko'olau Mountains are also from the southeast to northwest. So you're pushing, almost essentially pushing heavy rain from one mountaintop to another in the same kind of area. Is that generally what's happening here, Robert?
Yeah, this is a type of situation that we worry about. And Gina pointed out that this is starting to look a little similar to the record flooding that we had a couple of years ago. I'm not saying that we're looking at an event right now that's like that, but you might remember that that's sort of what happened, is that we had trade winds that weakened and they kind of started to turn toward the southeast. And we know when the air is very, very unstable and a southeast flow impacting the Ko'olaus, you can get intense rainfall along the Ko'olau Mountains and windward side of Oahu. And that's what we're looking at right now. So the question becomes, how long is this going to last? And we're not real sure. There are some differing computer models, even just over the next 6 to 12 hours, trying to tell us what's going to happen. So in the meantime, people need to pay attention to the warnings and do what you can to be safe.
What are your models telling you of what this might portend for Kauai as it heads generally in that direction?
Yeah, it looks like Kauai and Oahu might continue to be under a general threat for real heavy rain over the next day or so. Some of the models want to try to pull most of the rain north and west of the islands, and then some of them want to hang up some real heavy rain over Kauai and Oahu. So we're going to keep an eye on that. There's also other computer models that are showing real heavy rain regenerating where in areas where we don't need it over southeast and east side of the Big Island, and they've just been tremendously saturated over the last few days. So again, we kind of have our eyes open statewide. We know that we've gotten a lot of rain in some areas already. And again, if you're underneath one of these downpours, it's really coming down. So just because it's not raining right where you're at right now doesn't mean that you can't get flash flooding or that there aren't going to be problems later on. You really got to keep your head on a swivel and keep attention to the weather.
I like that. Yeah, our heads are definitely on a swivel today. You know, what would you like to see you're you know, always up to your elbows in this stuff, and you and Justin know the science behind it and that. But the general public, we're more trained to watch for named storms or tsunami warnings or hurricane watches. And yet, recent history has taught us it's these upper level lows that have dumped the most rain and caused the most destruction. Should the public be changing how we approach our attitudes and our awareness about these sort of everyday disasters that can just pop up?
Yeah, that's one of the things that has caused us some consternation here at the National Weather Service over the last few years, that a lot of folks believe that the only types of weather that are really dangerous are the systems that get names, and that's not necessarily true. We've had lots of incredible weather events that are not named. They're just, you know, flash flood producing weather systems, and we don't always know ahead of time if one of these upper lows is going to generate a situation exactly like this, and a lot of them are a lot weaker than this. So in that case, you really just need to pay attention when we issue flash flood watches or severe thunderstorm watches. We really want folks to be aware of what's going on and understand that the situation bears monitoring. You think about changing your plans if you need to. Stay away from those flood-prone areas that a lot of folks like to go to, you know, if you're hiking or camping or whatever. But this is not the kind of situation where you want to do that. But yeah, it's a good point. Not every system is named, and that doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
Yeah, you know, when excuse me, when we talk about upper level lows, it's one of these things where I think you say we have all the ingredients for torrential downpours. Will it happen? Maybe, maybe not, because we've had also, conversely, upper level lows that really didn't produce a lot of rain, and then this is complete opposite of that. And just to dig a little bit deeper, and Robert, you can add to it, but just a very general definition of an upper level low, 'cause it sounds like a contradiction. And we have a special video of Cruz and Nuge dealing with upper level lows on our website if you wanted to learn a little bit more of it. But basically, it's bitterly cold air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, roughly the altitude of where airlines fly. And we're talking about temperatures that are 15 degrees, 10 degrees below freezing Celsius. That on top of very huge amounts of moisture at sea level and at the surface, and those two need to interact, and that's exactly what they're doing. Is the moisture that is at the surface is pretty much being amplified. It's taken to next level rain because the upper altitude air temperature is so cold. Is that a good general way of describing this type of system?
Yeah, you described it perfectly. Essentially, you have very, very cold air in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. And when you start to slide areas of moisture underneath that cold air aloft, they blow up into big thunderstorms and heavy showers. And of course, the island terrain makes it even more complex.
Yeah,
so the mountains, the Ko'olau, the Haleakala, they like to wring that moisture out. And those heavy showers and thunderstorms can just get anchored where you get multiple rounds of thunderstorms or heavy rain that just redevelops. And of course, that's what we saw in Kauai during the record flooding a couple of years ago. We just had thunderstorms reform all day. What happens sometimes is these upper lows will come down over us and you'll get heavy showers and thunderstorms, but they'll stay offshore. And so for on land, it just looks like, okay, well, this really wasn't that big a deal. We didn't see the intense rainfall. It may be just 10 or 15 miles offshore and nobody gets it and they wonder what the big deal is. But you get into a situation like this, everybody finds out real quick what the big deal is and why we get very concerned over these types of systems in this type of situation.
Oh boy, you talk about that offshore, that same red gunk that we're looking at over windward. I mean, last night on the radar, that was all pretty far offshore of Oahu. And Justin was saying, can you imagine if this was over Oahu right now? It's some real bad stuff, but it's offshore. And, you know, is this affected at all by climate change or the trends or La Nina or El Nino in terms of how many of these severe upper level lows we would get in a year, in a season? Are we seeing more of them for some reason?
Yeah, especially El Nino and La Nina, the ENSO cycle, that does tend to modulate what we see during the winter. Now, it's not a one-for-one. It doesn't mean when we have an El Nino winter, we know we're not going to get any upper lows, and when we have a La Nina winter, we know we're going to get clobbered. It's not quite that simple, but we know that the pattern tends to favor. So we know during the summer, when we have El Nino, we tend to get more hurricanes and tropical storms close to the islands. We know that during the winter, when we have La Nina, we tend to get more colder weather systems that cause heavy rain and thunderstorms closer to the islands. And you may remember earlier this year, we had said that we thought that starting around the holidays and a little bit after that, we thought that the weather pattern was going to definitively change wetter. We had really started the year with a pretty, the wet season with a pretty dry pattern up through December or so, and then we kind of switched gears and things got quite a bit wetter. So it's sort of going out as planned. Yeah, every year has some surprises with it, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But we kind of had a feeling that things were going to get more active, and it looks like we're going to wrap up the wet season here over the next few weeks with some pretty active weather.
Yeah, it's ending the wet season with an exclamation point.
Yeah,
with a bang, yeah.
And I do want to also emphasize that this type of storm system, this type of year, or this time of year, is actually not a surprise. It's par for the course for the wet season, where we have different types of storm systems move through, including upper level lows, and most recently and most commonly, cold fronts that have actually moved through. And this is a big part of a cold front system too, the bitter cold levels in the upper atmosphere. But this is, at least at this point, not an established front that might, a weak one might form, as Robert Ballard mentioned a little bit earlier today. But we've been talking with you for just under 20 minutes. And I don't know if, I mean, I know that you're looking at the radar returns. I'm not seeing this thing budge. And I'm not really seeing it weakening all that much. Is that what you kind of see as well?
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the rainfall rates here on the graphic behind me, and I'm still seeing widespread, you know, up the spine of the Koolau and just to the east, widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain per hour. If you know, when that lasts for an hour or two, that's real trouble.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in the you were talking about the little pockets. Don't be tricked by the sunny pockets. When I was leaving Kaneohe in that little reprieve, oh boy, the waterfalls were glorious. But I knew from the dark clouds behind me something bad was coming back.
And if you're looking at the radar right now, we are showing precipitation rates of just under 3 inches in an hour for the heavier downpours that we're seeing. Thankfully, though, the heaviest stuff is deep within the mountains. Well, I say thankfully loosely, because that can actually be a bit more of a problem, because that water's got to go somewhere, and it's going to go down the path of least resistance, and that could mean into a river, it could mean into a valley, it could mean into the road, and eventually it means into the ocean. The heaviest stuff, though, is deep within the mountains, and if, you know, ways in, a small portion of Kamehameha Highway itself is seeing the lighter rain that is indicated by the greens that you see on the screen, and also the yellows. So this is definitely a situation where the mountains itself, on top of the bitterly cold temperatures in the upper atmosphere and the abundant moisture at the surface, the mountains are definitely involved, because they're, you know, if the mountains weren't there, there's a chance that the rain might not be as intense. Would you say, Robert?
Yeah, if the Koolau weren't there, it would probably just keep on moving off to the northwest. So the mountains are forming a barrier because that southeasterly flow sort of rides a little bit parallel to the mountains. It can't get up and over to the other side, and it's just getting stuck. And because the air wants to rise, it's so unstable with those really cold temperatures aloft, it just forms new thunderstorms. And again, like you said, it looks like it's not moving. Now, again, just because it's raining just a little bit inland from like Hauula to Waikane does not mean that water all has to go somewhere, and it's going to come downhill on into those towns and crossing Kamehameha Highway. So this is a really serious situation for folks that live upslope of those areas. All that water, again, has to come downhill, and it looks like it's going to be a lot. This is we're in pretty rare territory here right now, it looks like.
Robert, do stay with us. I just want to insert something really quick we received from the Department of Health. Of course, a lot of people who are lucky enough to be getting their vaccine appointments might be worried about getting to their appointments today. The Department of Health said the COVID vaccinations at the Windward Comprehensive Health Center, the clinic has been moved to the Windward Community College. And that'll be actually today, tomorrow, and Thursday due to this torrential rain. I guess they need to change the elevation there a little bit. We'll post this all on our website. They haven't canceled. It looks like they haven't canceled any vaccinations today. But boy, folks, be careful if you're having to go anywhere. But the Windward Vaccination Clinic being run by the state is moved to Windward Community College, Hale'akaukaua. We'll have links on our website.
All right, back to just kind of a snapshot of the state. I do want to talk about the Big Island right now, because the Big Island, that the windward sides, the east sides and the southeast corridor there, that is under a flood advisory. And you could see there are some heavy rains moving through, but the returns on the radar that I'm seeing are not intense as Oahu right now. Henceforth, there's been no flash flood warning. That could, of course, change anytime. Robert, I'd like to hear your analysis on what we're seeing for the Big Island at this hour, please.
Yeah, it does look like, you know, they've had some really intense showers the last few days, but they've settled down for now into more of a kind of a moderate to heavy, steady rain, but not the really intense rates that we've seen, say, on Maui yesterday or on Oahu so far today. But any rain on top of the rain that they've already had over the last 3 days, which has been intense, is not going to really help the situation. Of course, windward Big Island is used to that rain. Yeah. Not so much southeast Big Island and Ka'u, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. And again, if we start seeing some redevelopment here over the next 12 to 24 hours, it's quickly going to lead to a flash flood situation there. And again, like I mentioned, some of the computer models are trying to refire more intense rainfall over southeast and east Big Island over the next day or so. So a situation where we're really eyes open, keeping an eye out. The whole state has some risk for flash flooding, and so it's a serious situation. Not everybody is going to get clobbered, but there's going to be pockets where it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, and all islands are definitely under the gun, and you never know. I mean, you could be in an area that's completely dry right now, or mostly dry. For example, it could be Kauai. Kauai has been seeing some lighter showers, but not anything that's intense right now, thankfully for them. In fact, I think out of all the islands, as far as kind of heavy rain, they're in great shape. But we know historically that, you know, especially with the flooding in Hanalei a few years ago, that almost came out of nowhere. It started as a sunny day in Hanalei and then turned south from there. So I just want to mention the Kauai residents. There has been heavy rain, especially this wet season for Kauai. Right now, it's not happening over Kauai, but Kauai is still under that flash flood watch.
And dotting all of our islands are these, you know, often high elevation reservoirs and dams that are always under the close eye, you know, of the folks in charge of watching them daily with our state regulatory regime, and also the various dam owners and reservoir owners. And that really caused quite a scare yesterday on Maui at Kaupakalua Reservoir and Dam. And we're talking about, you know, a 57-foot high, 400-foot long dam that, in the time since yesterday, we've learned that residents and witnesses in the area said it wasn't really that full before the storm. It had several feet below the surface, and that much rain that quick filled it up. It overtopped. We understand now, according to the owners, that it did not breach. It simply overtopped. You know, and Robert, again, I guess from a hydrology type of perspective, what should best practice be at some of these large bodies of water that can pose a threat? How much more should they be draining them below their usual safe heights when this much water can come this quickly? Can you weigh in on that?
A little bit, although it's really hard to tell, of course, as we go into these events, exactly, as we've said before, who is going to get it and who isn't going to get it. So we leave it up to the water management folks to decide what they need to do with the reservoirs and how to manage those. We can tell them when we think that there is a threat of heavy rain coming. We can tell them about our confidence level. If we think it's a very, you know, it's a slam dunk that a lot of places are going to get really intense rainfall, or if we're going to see this more hit or miss pockets of heavy rain, which is harder, of course, to plan for from a water management standpoint. But it's something that I know that they're aware of and that they keep an eye on as we get closer to these types of events. In some cases, when we know that there is a big event coming that's going to be very widespread, they'll proactively go out and clear drainages and get things ready to go when we know that heavy rain is going to be really widespread. But when you get into these, you know, small pockets of intense rainfall, it gets really tough to tell, you know, what the best course of action should be in any one given area.
Well, and it's really good to hear about the amount of communication that goes on between the owners, the managers, the experts like yourself, and like we say, you know, the state regulators who have to keep an eye on them. But I think to a lesser extent, not every resident or business or school in these sort of evacuation zones under the reservoirs and dams are necessarily acutely aware that they're under one. And now here we have, you know, in the past, well, let's stretch it back even farther, past a decade, back to Koloko on Kauai, Nuuanu Reservoir, a bit of a scare in one day over on Oahu a few years back. And of course, Maui yesterday. It does seem to drive the point home that, hey, add that to your hazard and emergency list. Know what you're under, whether you work or live or go to school in a vicinity of one, right? Is that safe to say, Robert, that that's another thing people should be aware? Look at these dam and reservoir evacuation maps and stay tuned to those kind of risks.
Yeah, ahead of time, the best thing you can do is know if you're in a flood-prone area and know how to get out. Have a plan so that you know when the weather is going to turn bad, what you need to do, and when it does turn bad, what you're actually going to do to enact that plan before the flooding starts, hopefully. It's always good to be aware of your local situation, your environment. So, for example, if a hurricane's coming and you live near the shoreline, you need to know what to do. If it looks like it's really going to come in and hit, where will you go? Same thing with flash flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, you're near one of those rivers or streams, how do you get away from that and keep yourself safe and not wait until it's too late?
That's a good point, and I will just add to that that maybe it's a good call for all of us to consider flood-prone or at least flood risk to mean also that you're near by one of these bodies of water. They're probably safe generally most of the time.
Well, when you have something like what we're looking at right now, which is a very heavy, stationary, and persistent rain cell right over the Ko'olaus, that's what makes it an even worse situation. And it's also, I have to mention this too. I mean, it's obvious, but you know, the flood zone areas, the flood-prone areas are different, vastly different from what we went through last week with that tsunami scare. The tsunami inundation zones are much different, and there's a different kind of response when you're in a tsunami watch advisory or warning. You know, you get to higher ground, you get away from the ocean. In a flooding situation like this, if it really gets bad, if you can safely leave, of course, that would be the best course of action. And this is a new video from the Hauula area. You can see how just that water's just racing down. It appears right by a house, possibly through somebody's driveway. And the warning goes till 1:45 p.m. Robert Ballard mentioned it. I mean, even if the rain were to stop, the rivers are still swollen, the streams are still swollen, and that is flash flooding. So it's highly likely that the flash flood warning for Oahu will continue for at least some period of time after this is done, even if the rain were to stop right now.
Yeah, Robert, can you weigh in on that sort of that concept of the blue sky flooding, where we think the rain technically stopped, but there's still a lot of stuff churning up in the mountains, in the waterfalls, in the streams, and there's still more that has to let off?
Yeah, exactly. So especially when you get a really sustained, prolonged heavy rain event like this over one particular spot, as soon as the rain stops, that doesn't necessarily mean that the flood threat is over. All that water still has to make its way down the mountain, into those creeks and streams, and then wherever it's going to go, that may be under bridges or over roads or wherever it's going to go. And so that takes some time. We have some new computer models in the office that are helping us sort of watch how that water moves through the river and stream pattern, so that we can kind of monitor that as it goes along. So we know how long to keep flash flood warnings up even after the rain stops. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to point out, and we've seen this in the last couple of days, is that folks near the shoreline, for example, might be under dry weather, like you pointed out, but it's raining extremely heavily upslope. So you got thunderstorms, and maybe you can hear the thunder over the mountains, or it's really dark when you look up slope and up toward the mountains, and that can lead to flash flooding at your location. So again, all that water has to come downhill. If you're near a stream or a creek, even if you're downhill from that, that can cause flash flooding. And what folks have told us is this happens in minutes. They had no idea that the water would come down that fast and that furious over that short a time. So it really catches people off guard when these flash floods happen sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. As much as it rains here in Hawaii, and we have quite a bit of annual rainfall, if you were to see, viewer video and listen to the comments, they're acting like they've never seen heavy rain before because this is just so intense. And even though they probably have, it's still surprising to see not just rain, but just like cats and dogs coming down, torrential downpour. And it's been a while.
Yeah.
No, I felt
for
that way at my Kaneohe house today. I swore. I have never seen it. The raindrops were bigger than dogs. It felt like, boy.
Yeah. This is next level heavy rain.
Next level.
This isn't just our normal heavy trade showers. This is for real.
Robert, are our networks of the man-made, the ditches and the streams and the gulches and gullies that we try to direct Mother Nature to pour out this excess water with, is it sufficient generally in parts of the island, or is there still quite a bit of work to do engineering-wise to better manage this water situation like this? Or do you just chalk it up to, hey, it's once every, 10, 20 years or so, just go with it?
Yeah, most of the time, the engineers, when they design flood control measurements and ditches and drainages and stuff like that, most of the time they're looking for the 1 in 10 year type rainfall. And so when we start seeing rain that looks like it's a 1 in 20 year event or a 1 in 30 year event or more, then we know we're going to get flash flooding. It's really hard to spend the money to design something which is only going to happen, once in a generation or something like that. So it gets really difficult to try to plan for those really, really super extreme events. But generally, and this is nationwide, that most areas try to plan for the 1 in 10 year type flooding event.
I wanted to point something out on the radar, just a quick observation. Within the last, I would say, 20 minutes to half an hour, the rainfall intensity for the Big Island has increased, especially over Windward Ka'u in an area basically from Na'alehu up through Volcano. I'm seeing stronger returns there, and also some heavier rains that are just offshore that appear to be moving to the Big Island, that southeast coast. Even some heavier showers are now popping up near Kailua Kona. And this is just, one of these not wild guesses, but just speculation. There is actually an area of heavy rain that is to the south of Oahu. It appears it's moving in a direction towards the Big Island. I'm not saying this is a guaranteed thing, but if these rains that are currently just southeast of Kauai, if they continue on this trajectory, we may see some of these heavy rains kind of graze Kauai. So again, it's a situation where no island is in the clear because these things just pop in and pop out. It's pretty much up to Mother Nature where this is going to go next. Are you seeing the heavier showers for the Big Island there, Robert?
Yeah, I was just taking a look at that. It does look like the rainfall rates down there are starting to increase a little bit, and also seeing some pockets of heavier showers and thunderstorms that are offshore down southeast of Ka'u.
Yeah. And
we know that when we get southeast flow coming into the Big Island, that area from Puna on down to Ka'u, it's bumping up against Mauna Loa, and we know there we can get really intense, very heavy rainfall. We saw an event like that back in November of 2000 where they got, over 20 inches of rain in one night, which caused tremendous flash flooding. And again, not saying that that's the kind of situation that we're looking at right now, but it does concern us when we see a lot of moisture coming in to that southeast side. And of course, the Ka'u area isn't used to getting rain nearly as much as, say, the Hilo and Puna and up toward Hamakua. Those areas get a lot more rain typically, so they can handle more rain in general.
Yeah, we were showing some video as you were speaking. I believe that's Rainbow Falls. Although these days anything could look like Rainbow Falls the past couple days.
Today.
Right? But boy, it was raging and muddy and awful.
I do want to ask you about snow. So we do, we have an upper level low, and that means bitterly cold air in the, anywhere from roughly 15,000, 30,000, 40,000 feet. What about getting some snow for Big Island summits? What do you think are the chances of that happening? If thunderstorms fire up on the slopes of the Big Island, that's the main mechanism to get that moisture up there to get some snow? You think it'll happen?
Yeah, I think it's fairly likely that they're gonna see snowfall in this. In fact, they're probably getting snow right now from this big area of moisture that's moving over the Big Island. The snow levels are probably down near about 11,000 feet or so. So it's above the summit level for Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. It's not impossible even that Haleakala could end up with some snow over the next couple of days. I think it's going to be not quite that cold, but we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
That's more of a novelty type thing, not so serious in terms of the weather situation. The flooding is, of course, our big story. But yeah we are still in the winter wet season, and so you can still get actually any time of year you can get snow at Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, but it's a lot more common as we get into the winter and spring months, and then during the summer a lot less so.
Good to see that at least at this hour, and for now, again, anything can change, but at least Maui County and Maui specifically, upcountry and the North Shore, looks like they're getting maybe some light showers, some misty stuff, but not anything that is intense. We'll go back to Oahu once again because we are in the same situation that we've been in pretty much minimum an hour, where we have heavy rain that extends roughly from Kahului all the way to Kahuku, right along the Ko'olau Mountain spline, and that has caused some problems on Kamehameha Highway, especially with runoff and flooding. Portions of Kamehameha Highway are closed. Some other portions are being contraflowed right now. But unfortunately, no major changes. I don't see this letting up, at least in the past 15 minutes. It's just pretty much as intense as it's been since we've been on the air. Would you say that is an assessment that is correct, Robert?
Yeah, I would. Maybe the rates have come down just a tiny bit, but I think that might be temporary. One of the things that kind of concerns me is I'm seeing new development farther south. So when you go along the spine of the Ko'olaus down toward Mauna Wili and south into Kaneohe, there are new cells which are developing and kind of feeding into that band, which is already just anchored there for the last few hours. And so I think that we're not going to see any changes anytime real soon, other than the fact that the heavy rain is just going to keep falling over the same areas where it's already fallen. We're maybe a little bit lucky that it's not right over the road, but I don't think that that's really going to change much because you've got all that rain in the mountains coming downhill. It's still going to be a super serious situation for that area that's just gotten pounded so far today.
Boy, that's for sure. We're putting up a live shot right now, taking a look at Sunset Beach. What a mess. Look, it's just waves of muddy water. And
a lot of brown water.
A lot of brown water. Definitely not a time to get in, obviously. And there is the road closure that Jen Boniza mentioned earlier. If you're just now joining us, of course, Windward Oahu, don't go anywhere. If you can avoid it, stay safe, shelter in place if you can. But there is a road closure on Kamehameha Highway between Wailehua Road and Waikane Store, and a contraflow in the area of Kualoa Ranch. You just can't get past, can't get around. We're sending crews to the other side of that road closure. We have Jen Boniza in the more the Kaneohe side of the closure, and we're sending another team up and around the other side. We'll get a better look as well of what's going on the North Shore, and that as we come around the corner there. But just socked in on the windward side.
And yeah, I like Robert's observation there. I don't see any potential changes in the wind direction from now through tonight or tomorrow. It's generally going to be southeasterly winds. So it's kind of like a water hose of rain that is right along the arc of the Ko'olau Mountains and way more heavy towards the northern end as opposed to, you know, Waimanalo, Kaneohe. They're getting a little bit of it. They're going to get more rain, but it's definitely the mountains that are a huge influencer with this. And of course, if you look at Sunset Beach right now, it's definitely not a beach day. It's a big old mess, and it's probably going to last, you know, through the rest of the work week in some shape or form before the weekend, and those winds clear everything out. That's a good thing. That's good news. The weekend looks good so far, but until then, we got to get through this. And we're looking at some flooding of homes here, and of course, those rivers just swollen. That flash flood warning for Oahu, once again, goes through 1:45, about an hour or now, but most likely a good chance it'll be extended.
Yeah, we're staying posted on any additional road closures. Of course, we've got that Kamehameha Highway closure there. No word on any kind of shelters opening yet, at least not that I'm seeing on the alerts pages. That's interesting. I hope that means that people are able to safely shelter in place. The advice from a civil defense expert who was with us yesterday was, to the extent possible, especially when these things pop up this quick, shelter in place if you can, because going somewhere through a road like this or something could put you in more danger unless you absolutely have to get out of Dodge.
And if you have to leave, call 911 and EMS, fire. They'll be able to get to you safer than if you were to try to drive through water, which we saw people doing on Kamehameha Highway. Clearly the road was closed. They chanced it. It's not a good chance to take, so.
All right. Well, Robert Ballard, thank you so much for joining us and spending this extensive time and sharing your expertise. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, good joining you today, and hopefully everyone will stay safe as we go along with this event.
Thank you. You're helping us go a long way toward that. Thank you, Mr. Ballard.
All right, let's get another overview of what is happening right now. We do have a flash flood warning. Again, it goes through 1:45, but because the rains are fairly consistent and we need some time for that water to drain out of the mountains, most likely flooding will occur well past the 1:45 mark. Either way, it is a flooding situation for Windward Oahu, continues to be so, and that's the real biggest danger statewide at this hour. Now, there is also a flood advisory that is in place for portions of the Big Island, and we're talking about basically that southeast corridor where lighter showers have been moving through, but over the past 20 minutes to half an hour, at least since we've been on the air, showers have become a bit heavier for the Big Island. More on that in just a bit. Let's take a look one more time at the heaviest rains that we are seeing right now. Rainfall rates are up to 3 inches per hour deep within the Ko'olau Mountains that extends from an area roughly just north of Kaneohe, maybe Waiahole, all the way in through Kahuku, Kahului, all the way up along Kamehameha Highway. The heaviest rains there. This is an area that normally sees a lot of normal windward showers anyway, nightly windward showers. Not used to seeing this. This is pretty intense stuff, and it's just not moving anywhere. A quick check on the Big Island, especially towards the windward side. Again, heavier showers are moving through, flood advisory in place, more heavy rain to the south that is expected to be pushed into the Big Island. So it's a wait-and-see situation. So far, it's not been problematic with the rain. It's just been more nuisance flooding. Hopefully, it stays that way. No problems at this hour for Maui County, although, take a look at this. And again, things can change so much. Now, there are pockets of heavy rain that are hitting the southern flank of Haleakala. I see 2 areas of heavy rain that's moving into upcountry Maui. So again, things can change almost hourly here. We were looking at Maui pretty much, at least for now, being in good shape. Boom, heavy rain pops up. That could be the situation for Kauai as well. In fact, for Kauai, I do see some offshore rain that I wanted to point out that could be moving into Kauai later this evening. It's very close to Oahu. It might graze Oahu. I was trying to get a pointer here so that you could see it, but this is what I'm talking about right just off of Waianae, right here. So that has the potential to graze maybe Oahu. And then if you look at the direction that it's moving, there's a chance it can move into Kauai later this afternoon as well. Again, in and out, who knows? Just know that we're going to have this moisture. This is the future radar, at least for another day. There's some very strong returns tomorrow morning for the windward side of the Big Island. This is 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. Look at the, the potential for heavy rain there. And then hopefully lighter showers. It does appear that by Thursday afternoon, things start drying up somewhat. And we'll probably have some rain Thursday and Friday, but we should be completely clear of this system no later than Friday and Saturday morning.
Thank you, Justin. Now, what has become this statewide weather event started yesterday primarily with the threat to Maui, and early in the afternoon, a lot of focus on the Kapakalua Reservoir and Dam there above the Haiku area. There was fear and talk of whether this old earthen dam built in 1885 might break or breach. Could it withstand the pressure? It did not breach. It overtopped. But we do have an update and a statement from Mahi Pono, which is the owner and manager of that dam, with a look back at what they've been able to assess since. Let me read you what Mahi Pono has told us. As rainfall continued overnight, our team, the Mahi Pono team, monitored water levels at Kapakalua Reservoir and Dam and provided hourly update reports on water levels to the Maui Emergency Management Agency. While the levels exceeded peak capacity and caused overtopping of the dam yesterday afternoon, overtopping actually ceased in the early evening and has not reoccurred. This morning, the person giving us the statement from Mahi Pono said they did a visual inspection of the Kapakalua Reservoir and Dam at around 10 a.m. And at that time, the water levels were still high, but not overtopping. That had stopped. Mahi Pono says we will continue to monitor the situation until it returns to a safe level. At this time, Mahi Pono says they are not aware of any property damage that occurred due to the overtopping. However, this does not diminish the damage caused in the surrounding community located Mauka of the reservoir by the overwhelming and unprecedented rainfall here on Maui. And we do have a cruise over on the Valley Isle. Our Lauren Day and Ken Mashiyama headed right over there at the first sign of trouble. They are in the area where about a half a dozen homes had been either damaged or destroyed. They're getting video, no cell or TV that they can send back to us right now. We're going to have all of their coverage later on in the day when they're able to feed that to us. But what they're seeing up there is quite an impact. Yeah, our hearts go out to the half dozen people that had damage to their homes. That being said, if that dam would have broken loose, worse potential for damage. So thankfully, it stayed together and held together. It's a very old dam, over 100 years old, so that's good news there. Definitely. And if we can show some video of our collection of what we have gathered from the island of Maui as well over not only last evening and yesterday. Are we able to show some of that there in the control room? We can take you to some video here. This is from viewers and from our crews. Landslides occurring along the Hana Highway. This is the Garden of Eden on the Kenai side. Now at this point, there's just a single lane open there. At least something's open though. I mean, compare that to when Kauai's North Shore got completely shut off a few years back. Here, gosh, for a long time. This is downstream of Kapakalua Dam in Haiku. What we're looking there now. This is during the evacuation time. I never want to see people get quite that close to that water. Don't repeat that. But there is quite a bit of the weather coming through there. This is during that evacuation stage. And what we understand so far, people in the Haiku areas being told if they had evacuated, still not yet to go back. Really? Yeah. Because, again, the streams are still swollen. We're not in a flash flood warning, but I think city officials or county officials want to make sure that everything is okay first. There's no immediate danger. And this is the meat and potatoes of it, folks. This could hana-hou at any time. So just be aware of your surroundings. We appreciate the videos that people have sent to us. We encourage you to safely, if you can, safely send pictures or video using the Report It feature on our website, khon2.com, or you could just download the KHO2 mobile app and upload your pictures. These are appreciated because people, can see what's going on
in other parts of the state so they can prepare themselves.
Yeah, and if that's a taste there of what the folks on the Windward are getting, that's a street that we were looking at there. That was not a river. That's not a scenic overlook. That's just a regular street through the Maui area there.
A street with more water running through it than normal rivers in the area, you know, or streams in the area. So.
Just crazy. But the source of much attention yesterday, Kapakalua Reservoir, a close eye being kept on it. No overtopping. The water level was able to come down. Thankfully, we're seeing, hopefully, a relatively speaking, light rain compared to yesterday. Let's take a look to at the Oahu traffic cameras.
Yeah, from here on out, so there's no cameras deep in the middle of Kamehameha Highway, so we can only see areas such as Kaneohe and Kailua. And those areas, we could tell you that the roads are wet. We're not seeing downpours, at least in Kaneohe right now. There's passing showers. The real heavy stuff is when you go north on Kamehameha Highway, and it hasn't let up the heavy rain along Kamehameha Highway, and that's why there are some closures, and in certain areas there's contraflows. That most likely will continue. Again, we've been watching this heavy rain cell clinging for dear life onto the Ko'olau Mountains. I will say, though, just noticing the returns, it looks like there is some weakening of it. This is a 3-hour loop, so if you look at how expansive it was 3 hours ago, stretching from Kahuku and towards Kaneohe, it's kind of contracted a little bit, so that might be encouraging. And then you also have this very interesting feature of kind of a surge that might be cloud cover, that might be light rain. It looks to be moving faster than all the other cells, so I'm not too sure what's going on there, but it's definitely not any kind of heavy rain for East Oahu. The heavy rain still remains to the north along Kamehameha Highway and along the northern periphery of the Ko'olau Mountains.
Good day to stay home. Make chili, make cornbread.
Good idea. Good idea.
Oh my gosh. This is a live shot we have here of Velzy Land.
That brown water.
By surfline.com. So, yeah, as is common, especially in these high rain events, brown water advisory for the entire island of Oahu, according to our alerts from earlier today, too. Brown water. Expect that to stick around for a while.
For a few days. It's going to be it's going to be a few days before the current's going to actually sweep this out. And not saying it's going to happen, but this is what sharks love.
Yes, yeah. And to our visitors who came all this way and all that headache and all those COVID tests just to come and get this, we're sorry. But this is the kind of water you do just really want to stay out of that. Don't get in that. That's a lot of sickness happen right there if you step in that. So stay away from the shores. Be safe. Windward Oahu folks, shelter in place, to the extent that you safely can. We have crews out all over, getting very wet to bring us those stories. We've got Jen Vaniza over on the one side of the closure toward the Hauula Kaneohe area. We have another crew going around the North Shore, and we have crews over on Maui as well.
And just wrapping up again, we want to reiterate, we do appreciate your videos and we do appreciate your pictures. The easiest and best way to do it is just to go to our website, khon2.com, click on the Report It tab, and then you can upload your photos and videos there, or you can use the KHON2 mobile app. With the mobile app, any kind of alert that pops up, you'll always be in the know because we'll push alert it. So you'll get the very latest information to see if any kind of crazy weather or any kind of news headlines need to be pushed to you. You'll know right away.
When you do sign up for that, there's a little bell, I think it looks like, that you can turn on your notifications. Be sure to do that. So when Justin sends you all of his good weather tips, if your notifications are on, we can send you those weather alerts. So do stay tuned to that all day long, right in the palm of your hand. Our website, KHON2, and of course, all of our newscasts. Justin and I will see you at 4 p.m.
Unless something really bad happens.
But we're hoping that's not the case.
And we'll let you know, of course, via push alerts and our website, khon2.com.
Stay safe, everyone.
Aloha.